Hey there! Since I still work full-time, it takes me a long time to create a nook, so I decided to share bits and pieces as we go. Each video will be one little thing from the new build. So let's kick things off with some cursed jewelry. I made a crystal necklace and a golden torc that are both totally cursed and for sale at Borgin and Burkes in Knockturn Alley. We're starting off with the crystal. I used some stones that I have from my jewelry making. This is a synthetic cubic zirconia that was colored like a tanzanite that I had test fired in my kiln. It turned a completely different color and cracked down the middle. Yay for not throwing things out! It's the perfect cursed stone! The others are tiny cubic zirconia I was using to practice flush mounting. The necklace will look like the sketch I drew. Kinda. There's already a difference with the stones and the sizing. First, I'm laying out the stones on polymer clay to get a feel for spacing and size. Once I'm happy with the layout, I tapped down the table facets to make sure they're straight and added some dots. The dots won't transfer, but I wanted to make sure that that size tool was going to give me the dot size that I wanted. Next step, transferring everything we just laid out into plastilina clay. This is a complete experiment. I want to create a sort of mold with the plastilina to pour some UV resin. From looking online, it seems like plastilina doesn't react to resin, so that's good. My idea for this necklace is to use the resin to hold all the stones together, replacing the bezels and chain. I'd like it to look like magical crystal. If I were a magical jeweler, I would definitely enchant crystal to be sort of soft, so the entire necklace could be made with no metal at all. Don't get me wrong, I love working with metal, but it would be so cool to have a fully crystal necklace that moved with you. Until this project, I'd never worked with UV resin before. I bought this brand off Wish for just a few dollars so I could try it out. I'm definitely a fan. I can't wait to make more things with it. The mold worked pretty much exactly like I wanted it to, but because my dots were so small, there were bubbles trapped at the bottom that I had to pluck out with my needle tool. I know you can usually heat it and the bubbles rise to the surface and pop, but I wasn't sure how the plastilina would react. Curing time! I love the way the clay is peeling away from the cured resin at first, but as we got further along, I realized I'd made a big mistake. I didn't use any release agent on the clay. I won't put you through all the footage, but there was a lot of picking bits of clay out of the crevices, then brushing it with a toothbrush and some rubbing alcohol, then picking out some bits. You get it. This was my whole night. I will definitely use some kind of release agent next time. Let's just move on to the torc and I'll show you the clean piece at the end. The torc was made with a combo of gold-filled square wire that I had from a ring commission and polymer clay. I cut a piece of wire and grabbed a couple pliers. Sorry, one of them is sticking a lot and I'm not sure why, making this a little awkward. Using the two, I twisted the wire. I'm not worried about the ends being less twisty because the polymer clay terminals will cover it. After it's twisted, I'm shaping it on the very end of my ring mandrel. I could have annealed it to make it a little softer and easier to work with, but I didn't really want to change my workstation to do fire stuff. So a bit more hammering and a little more work with pliers and it'll be okay. Now for the terminals. They're a little thick to accommodate the lapis lazuli, but that's okay. I carved some twisty lines like someone had tried to make the terminals carry the same twisty motif as the neck ring. It's definitely not a historically accurate Torc, but I really wanted to use my lapis lazuli cabochons. I used a ball tool to make some seats for the lapis lazuli. It's a really not perfect bezel, and I'd never send out real jewelry with such a wonky seat, but this will live in a miniature window display in a miniature Borgin and Burkes, so it's okay. While the terminals are baking, I'm making some tiny polymer clay balls to decorate the edge where the terminal connects to the ring. Back to my favorite material, super glue! Super glue for the terminals, super glue for the lapis lazuli cabochons, super glue for the little clay balls. Everybody gets super glue. Once all the gluing was over, I started to paint the terminals in gold. As you can see, it's not really great coverage and the gold doesn't look great. So we're going back over this in black instead. After it's all black, I'm dry brushing the gold on. That looks a whole lot better and more metallic. My original idea was to put down the gold, then do a black wash to get into the crevices, but I think this way turned out a whole lot better. There was a super clear difference between the wire and the clay, so I went back over the wire with a tiny bit of black paint. And here are the finished shots. I think they turned out pretty well. I need to find a good place in the windows for it. I think I'm gonna have to modify the windows in the nook to make sure I have room on every shelf for some LEDs. I'd really like to make sure these can sparkle. I guess now I need to add light fixtures to the list of things I need to make. Thank you all for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a like and leave a comment. It really helps with the mysterious algorithm, and I love chatting with you all about any questions, and especially your own projects. So thanks again. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.